Welcome, everybody. I hope you can all hear me well. We're just giving it another 5 minutes to let everybody join, but welcome to the webinar today. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me okay, if there's any issues, but I believe we're all good. I think yes. Okay, fantastic, thank you. Okay, so there are limitations for the team. So hang on, just bear with me, Carla. I'm just trying to give access to some of our team members so that they can speak and also contribute to the meeting, so bear with me. There we go, Vince and Carla, you should be able to activate your cameras and your microphones.
Yep, perfect. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Okay, so we'll still give it a couple more minutes just to let the last people, but we will be recording today. So then anyone who does miss it, we will be sending a recording, and obviously you can rewatch to catch anything that you might have missed. We'll give it a couple more minutes. Okay, let's get stuck in. Well, first of all, I want to give a big welcome to Vusion Group, our partners, for joining us today. We have Pauline and Jemana and also Quinton here to share their expertise. We're going to be putting them on the hot seat and really asking them some questions to do a deep dive into the subject and really understand what these electric shelf labels are all about and what values they can really bring to your retail space. We're also joined by Carlo and Vince from the SIR team, who are going to really be answering any questions you may have, specifically around POS and how those integrations work from a SIR perspective. So let's jump right in and get answering those questions for you. So, Pauline, if you'd like to, well, really, if we look at the different points that we're going to address today, obviously, we're going to look at the current retail challenges that we have, any benefits that the ESLs can bring to you, and also we're going to even bring up a case study and show it to you in action. We're going to be looking at how it enhances pricing accuracy, the customer satisfaction and loyalty aspect, and go beyond pricing optimization. What other things and benefits does it bring to the table and to your space? And the different requirements and needs that are needed for the integration. And obviously, what does this look like for the future of retail? So, Pauline, I'm going to let you take over the screen, share your presentation. And I think we'd really love to know what challenges are out there that the retailers are facing right now that that this could address. What ESL options do we have that we can address these different challenges?
Sure. Let's dive into it right away. Thank you for the introduction. Hi, everyone. I'm head of product marketing at Vusion Group. My name is Pauline Monin, and I'm going to walk you through these ESLs today, trying to answer all of your questions. I'll do my best, so bear with me here. So I think that the challenges that we're seeing are not new. So I don't think that's going to be something that's a big surprise to the people attending today. But I think that it's always good to kind of frame where we come from and where we're headed, or even just the situation that we're in. Thinking about as Vusion Group has been, out there working with retailers for more than 30 years. We've been tackling those challenges one by one, maturing what we have today. And when it comes to ESLs, we do have a strong and solid solution for most of them. So I'll walk you through details, but if we take a quick look at what is happening today, what was happening yesterday, and what will still happen tomorrow, it's the pricing inflation. Pricing is fluctuating. We know that, and this is something that is really hard to keep up to date in stores. That is something that's been out there for a while. There's a lot more challenges attached to that, but just thinking about making sure that the price is in the right items are linked together, and making sure that pricing overall are not going to cause any disruption to the business is something that we've seen and we keep seeing, even though we're in 2024 and it started a long time ago. So the second aspect, and that is something that might be fairly newer, if I would say, COVID and so on and so forth is long gone by now, but it kind of grew this e-commerce competition that we have, as in, we're looking at people that are less likely to go to stores, that want to have everything available on their phones, and they want those groceries to be delivered to them right away, either in the trunk or at home. This is something that creates disruptions in how the stores operate, because that creates a lot more needs from the consumer side of things. So we do need to cater to people that are coming to stores and to people that are expecting everything to be readily available online. So that is another one that is very much driving, ESL adoption across the board. The third one, and this is something that we will face more and more, and I think that everybody on this call is very aware of it, is the workforce shortage. A lot less people want to work in retail stores, those long hours, it's a tedious work. And thank goodness we do have these people that are operating and executing everything in store. But, thinking about that, a lot less people want to do that type of job. And we need to find a way to make it more appealing for them, or kind of alleviate the workload and make it more towards something that's comfortable for them. And make it also maybe tech driven. We do have also feedback from the tech-driven people that would like to see a lot more technologies coming to stores. So those are the things that are very much driving ESL adoption across the board. Manual operations, we know that a lot of things cannot be done by anybody else than people. And thank goodness, again, because we do have this workforce that's in store, but there's also a lot of things that we could automate and alleviate this workload on them and make their day-to-day easier. This is something that is really weighing into those decision-making processes when we talk to customers. And the last one, which is top of mind, and that will be even more top of mind tomorrow, is everything that's related to environmental costs of using paper. Printing and reprinting over and over again those price tags is something that might not seem significant on a daily basis, but when you take it from the volume perspective for a store that has 8,000 SKUs, 10,000, 20,000 SKUs, or across an entire chain, this is something that weighs heavily in terms of cost and in terms of sustainability as well.
Fantastic. Now that we understand what the different challenges the retailers are faced with, what kind of solutions do electric shelf labels bring to the table? What could we consider, and why would we invest in this?
So I think that we need to considering the state that we're in and where we're headed tomorrow, we could think about ESLs as a first step, and the first step towards the primary benefits that we know out of this technology. Again, Fusion Group has been deploying this technology for more than 30 years. So this is something that we've tested and proven. And if we were to capture the two things that are top of mind when it comes to investing, is first, task automation and workforce reallocation. I was mentioning very much, the manual, the minutiae of doing a lot of things in store that are necessary. Some of these necessary tasks today could be removed tomorrow by moving to ESL. So thinking about pricing automation, promotion execution, all of these things can be done with a click of a button. And if you take that and you elevate it a little more, you can also have one team that's managing that from a chain perspective, and that are able to deploy everything throughout the entire store chain without even needing to have support in store. So this is something that we can think about. And here it's very much operational efficiency, having people doing less of this tedious work while relocating them for things that are in critical need of somebody to take that box of tissue that is in the warehouse that is out of shelf, that we need to replenish so customers find what they're looking for in store, and we're not losing revenue here. So this is very much, thinking about ESL as deploying a digital system that's going to be doing the task automation in the intent of obviously being more operationally efficient and having those people that are on the ground doing what matters most. It could be either replenishing or it could be, assisting customers, as simple as that. And if we wanted to take an example, you were mentioning a case study. We do have a lot of customers. The one that I picked for today is Cabanas. This one is special and dear to our hearts because it's a Fusion 360 store, so it showcases overall technologies. But if we just narrow down the focus to everything that's ESL centric, all in all, in terms of numbers, what we can say is across 6 months, we were able to have the team save up 600 hours of ticket changes when it comes to either promotion or pricing. And this is a store that's very at a small scale, 8,000 SKUs. Think about it, expand that to 20,000 SKUs, 100,000 SKUs. Regardless of the number of SKUs that you have, moving on to digitalizing your shelves with ESLs can make this operation flawless. You don't need people. You need a team that's going to be clicking on the button and rolling out all of these changes at once. Typically, this is something that can be done from the cloud, and this is something that adds a lot of value. The other thing and the other aspect, if you will, the flip side to that is we're saving 600 hours of people so that we can reallocate them to do something else. And here, this is the on-shelf availability that I was mentioning. If my team members on the ground are not worried about changing tags and making sure the right item is with the right pricing, they can very much focus on some other tasks, typically getting those gap scans and making sure that those tissue boxes made it to the shelf, as opposed to staying in the warehouse because they're busy doing something else on the shop floor.
That's fantastic to hear. Really understand the challenges that most of our attendees are obviously facing, and obviously the solutions that the product really provides is really fantastic to hear. Now, I know pricing accuracy comes up a lot. So how is that important in retail?
So this is a very good question, and you would tell me this is the base of retail, right? We need to make sure that prices are accurate. There's a lot of different reasons. The first one being compliance, and I have a little story that I will share with you guys, as in, this is the magic of what happens when you digitalize your store. But very much there are two aspects to that: the accuracy, making sure that the right item has the right price because of customer satisfaction, because of mandatory requirements and regulations. If you do have pricing that's not related to the right item, that might be something that has a cost and then impacts revenue for retailers, right? So this is one of the aspects. The compliance is very much something that we can look at as something that will be on a day-to-day and on a very unique basis. Sharing you this story, we do have a customer that had a massive change of requirements when it came to pricing, and this change needed to happen overnight. Giving you the context, this customer was all cloud-based, had deployed ESLs throughout the entire store chain. I don't have on the top of my mind all the numbers, but basically we're talking hundreds and thousands of price changes that needed to happen overnight because the state that a person was in and the country that person was in changed the VAT level, and the change needed to happen overnight. Think about it as in on a Friday night, you have a certain number of VAT that you need to apply, and the next day you need to swap it. Think about it as a chain level. That customer had their entire chain updated with this new VAT applied in 4 hours only. And we're talking again about 100,000 of SKUs. If you take that from a human force perspective, imagine how many people you would have to send throughout the stores throughout the night to make those changes to all of these SKUs, knowing that you also have the risk of having human errors. So this is something that is important. So this is a unique story, and this is not something that happens every day, but this is very much the power of moving to digital as opposed to keeping everything that's paper-based. So that's one thing. The other thing is promotion execution. We do have a lot of customers working together with brands that are funding specific promotions, obviously to boost revenue and to promote specific products. This is something that has a huge impact on the life of the store. It's a day in and day out thing. It is also something when you do have your associates that are busy and that are changing regular pricing, that you need to send an additional team or that you need to take from another task to go and do that. The pricing execution here is very much similar as changing a price. It's a click of a button. It can be scheduled. So here you don't even have to worry about making sure that you are on time for this promotion that is supposed to start on a Friday. This is something that can be automated. So here again, you would be thinking those are the basics of ESLs, but this is also something that alleviates all of this pressure on the store when it comes to pricing concerns and making sure that we have enough people to execute within the aisle. The other aspect that we have is shopper experience. So if you were to ask me, there are a lot of, like a little bit on a resume, right? You do have the hard skills and you do have the soft skills. Here, I would say that when it comes to operational efficiency, these are hard benefits, if you will, very tangible and very revenue driven. Or avoiding, wasting time and effort on doing something. And I think that there's also the softer aspect of the benefits that are very much the improving the shopping experience. Why? Because there are things that you can do with ESLs that you cannot do with paper tags, or that would be harder to do. Think about it as in our customers are going to get the right pricing. So this is one thing that's very good. But they're also going to have access to more. ESLs are more interactive. There are more interactions that can happen at the shelf. And this is very much the silver lining of even just thinking about moving to pricing and promotion automation. There's also some additional benefits that you can get to, and we'll get into that into more details, but this is something that we can very much bear in mind. When it comes to loyalty and sales that are increasing, here, this is more or less the same thing. Is a customer is happy that the price is accurate, promotions are accurate. You know, when they go throughout the checkout lanes and they were supposed to have a 10% discount and a 10% discount is applied, they're happy, they know, and they trust the retailer because next time they come over, it's going to be the same thing. So all of these things are kind of mixed. This is why I call them more of the softer side of benefits, but these are actual tangible benefits. And proof point is that I was saying 8,000 SKUs for Cabanas from last Monday. So these ones are a little bit outdated. So apologies for the discrepancies. But still looking at the same store with this focus on ESL and what this digitalizing the shelf made for them is 100% price accuracy. This is something that from a numbers perspective, we're able to identify, you know, in and out, the pricing is the same. And we also have the proof points because we analyze that beyond the ESLs, the basket increase and the loyalty increase and the revenue increase that comes with it is something that came out of time, you know, and people going back to the store knowing that the pricing and the promotion will still be consistent with their expectations. So this is also something, like I said, more on the softer side of benefits, but matters as you move into thinking about moving to ESLs.
I think it's fantastic to hear that there's not just one direct value linked to ESLs. There's so many different values, like you said, on different levels, which is really fantastic. So having heard about the challenges, the solutions, and all the values, Pauline, what is the impact? How does moving to digital pricing impact our potential customers here?
I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do, and specifically when I think about the benefits that are add-ons to, you know, this operational aspect that is making sure that everything is smooth, automated. You know, we live in a world of automation, so the more we can do throughout one day, or the more the team can do throughout one day, is better for the business. You know, it increases revenue, reduces the cost, and so on and so forth. What is interesting to see is beyond the pricing automation, we can go into, and without even further looking into additional solutions, if you will, if you just think about this bundle of price and promotion automations through ESLs in store, everything that's in-store optimization, a lot of processes can be optimized. Giving you a very concrete example. Through ESLs, as opposed to paper tags, we are able to help associates within the aisles identify if they should be running to the back room to get a product that's in the inventory. The reason why we can do that is because we do have a feature where I'm not going to get into details of the feature, but that is called a switch page, just to give you the picture. And an associate is able to see something displayed underneath the tissue that is going to say either we still have products in the back room and you should go and run replenishing this shelf, or there's nothing there, and then that's another action that needs to be taken. This is something, again, that comes as an underlying value that comes with ESLs because it's digital, and all of these informations are pulled into our cloud instance, and we're then able to display that for associates. So we can make it easier for them to manage price and promotion because that is something that is completely automated. And on the other hand, we're also able to optimize what is happening in the store when it comes to their day-to-day processes. And, you know, should I go or should I stay? Or maybe should I stay or should I go? I'm not going to start singing. But the idea is there, right? It's giving them the tools on site that would go beyond paper, because a paper tag will not know what your level of inventory is. And that might be just a run for that associate that is empty-handed coming back because nothing was there. So this is something that gives very much a lot of tools to retailers to think about, is how can I use these ESLs beyond pricing and promotion automation to help out my associates on the shop floor. I don't have a lot of people, they're great team members. How can I alleviate that pressure on them and make their day-to-day better, is something that we could think of as an underlying thing. You know, this real-time visibility is something that is very crucial for them on their day-to-day. The second aspect is dynamic pricing strategy. which I think is a fun one to talk about. And I'm going to give you an example on food waste. There's some products throughout the day that you need to sell. Think about food to go. Think about bakery, fresh baked bread. This is something that at the start of the day you can have full shelves of, but then if you move later throughout the day, you're going to have to throw them away because you can't keep them for the next day. So this is something that is a loss of revenue, that is also increasing your food waste as a store. Thinking about dynamic pricing strategy, what can ESL do in that case? What ESL can do is very simple. We can schedule, program, if you will, a markdown that's going to happen later in the day for a specific set of products. What does that mean? It means that you have your fresh baked bread in the morning, and until 4 p.m., 5 p.m., you're going to keep a 100% price, if you will. And then reach the 6 p.m. mark or the 5 p.m. mark, you would be able to mark down this automatically to drive a lot more sales, and also to make sure that you can reduce your food waste. That's the kind of thing that we can do when it comes to a dynamic pricing. You could think about it, as Coca-Cola when it's hot in the summer and you want to boost your sales. You can think about a lot of mechanisms behind that could help you kind of adjust to the context and the expectation when it comes to weather, when it comes to anything. Or again, food waste is another good example. One that I failed to mention, and I'm going to go back to that, so I apologize for hopping here and there, but as you can see, I'm a very fierce advocate of our technology because I think it's so exciting, all the change that it can bring to stores. We talked about optimizing in-store processes, and this is something that is related to e-commerce and in-store picking. We talked about COVID, we talked about how people are now expecting to have their orders put together in an hour or get directly put into their trunk when they're off of their workday. This is something that ESLs can help not drive, but can help alleviate as a process for associates. And the reason why is because ESLs have LEDs that are included. And what we can do with that is help associates pick the right product, so avoiding errors in the order and doing it faster. Thinking about it again, we do have picking that's happening in a lot of different stores in which we've deployed our technology. The range of picking can go from -15% to -30% as a gain of time when it comes to picking products, which means that you can either have less time spent doing the orders, or you can have more orders prepared through the day. So it depends if you see the glass half full or half empty, but in any case, it's a win-win situation here, regardless of where you want to put your cursor. So I think that was a good one that we could go back to. So we talked about dynamic pricing strategy. We talked about in-store process optimization. The last one that is very dear to our heart is sustainability efforts. Again, pricing, printing, paper tags, and so on and so forth are things that are calling for a lot of paper. And even though you could argue that ESLs do have individual batteries to make them function properly, it is still something that we see as longer term than using all that amount of paper throughout the life cycle of the ESL. So this is something that we think is interesting for retailers to consider, especially with ESG goals. That could be something that we need to meet, or just a simple internal policy to say that we're going to be meeting internally this target, and this is how we're committing to doing it. This is also something that Vusion Group is building technologies for positive commerce, and this is also something that is top of mind when we think about our ESLs and deploying digital solutions for shelves in general.
That's absolutely fantastic. I think the value return, the ROI on this is endless. So thank you, Pauline. Before I continue, I just wanted to invite any attendees. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the comments. We will be addressing at the end of this session in the Q&A session. So please write them down, and we'll have them ready to answer as soon as we finish the presentation. So as we continue, this is all fantastic, but I'm sure what's on top of mind of a lot of people is this hard to deploy. What actually does the deployment entail, Pauline?
So here, I think it's the good question to ask. We work with stores that have 7,000, 8,000 SKUs. We work with stores that have 120,000 SKUs. So obviously there's a scale difference, but still, when it comes to thinking about ESLs, it shouldn't be a hassle. So the way we're putting together solutions is not hassle-free, but is very much the intent, as in the only thing that you would need to think about when it comes to an investment is obviously the IoTs that are in store. So ESLs, we have a lot of different sizes, a lot of different colors, and this is very much the link that we're going to have within the store. And then the layer on top of that would be the infrastructure. So here, I'm very happy and very proud that our organization is pursuing, sustainability goals. We're working very closely with infrastructure partners so that we can integrate directly within infrastructures are already deployed in stores using Wi-Fi. We do have a lot of big names, the Cisco Meraki's of this world, the Mist, and so on and so forth. And this is something that we're very keen on sharing, because there's no infrastructure investment that would be needed from a hardware perspective. So think about it as infraless. And on top of the investments that is not needed from a hardware perspective, there's also the cabling that's not needed, the installation that's not needed. So all of these things, again, we're trying to make the process as hassle-free as possible. So it's very much the IoTs in store, integrating into an existing infrastructure. We obviously can deploy a dedicated infrastructure if that's needed, but the intent is obviously to work with what you have as a retailer. And then the last layer is Vision Cloud, that is our retail IoT management platform that drives everything from the updates to the pricing, the data, the promotions, the scheduling. And then you're all set, those three things, knowing that the infrastructure is pretty much infraless. That's only two things that you need to consider.
Okay, fantastic. And as Pauline mentioned, everybody, obviously these are very personalized experiences for every different store, depending on sizes and volumes. So we're more than happy to touch base with you. Reach out to us following the webinar today, and we'll set up a specific quoting system and meetings with the team so you can actually find out how it would look like from your perspective, your personal perspective. So that's great. So Quentin, I believe you are there somewhere, and I'd love to bring you on to share a little bit of expertise and information regarding the integration. Obviously, we all have POS systems, whether it be SIR or someone else, and I'm sure everyone's asking the question, what does it look like to integrate and obviously have that sharing of information? So I'd love to hear your insights.
Yes, sure. So first of all, the first question that we need to ask ourselves is, why do we need to connect to a data point? Well, we can display pretty much anything on those electronic shelf labels. So we just need to find the product to be able to display the product information on the tags. We cannot make up data for you. So once we find that that data source, which is 99% of the time the POS system of the customer, we have an API available so that we have a full synchronization between the point of sale system and the ESL system. So once the data is being pushed by the POS system to our vManager software, the software integrates the data and then pass it to the access point, which is in the store, and that can communicate to the end labels the correct product information. So that's the data flow. And so most of the time your customers will have SMS log software, and the integration is already built. Log software has designed this integration, I think, 4 years ago. So it's a good thing because everything is already automated, meaning every time the customer will change a product information in his SMS log software dashboard, it will reflect in vManager and then onto the end labels. Now, what happens if you're trying to sell ESLs to customers that don't have log software? So we have a list of other POS system that we have integrated with. Just to name a few, we have an integration with Lightspeed, with AVB Link, with Stories, Compass, a lot of different POS system. So you can reach out to me and I can confirm if we already have a pre-built integration with those POS system. And if not, we would need to design that plugin to be able to synchronize the the connection between the point of sale system and the ESL system.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you ever so much for sharing that. So obviously we've heard all this fantastic information regards the challenges, the solutions, the values, the deployment, and the integration. And it seems like we've covered quite a lot of the bases. But obviously the future is digital. And I mean, I believe that was in the title of this webinar today. So with store digitalization, what does the future of ESL look like? And how does that, what are the next steps? What does ESLs unlock for these retailers?
Yeah, this is where we're getting into the good stuff, right? It's I loved your intro sentence, as in, tomorrow's digital. We did have the same conversation internally. Is tomorrow digital, or is it very much today? So yeah, I think it's a valid question. So from where we stand, digital is today. Like I said, we've been rolling out these solutions for 30 years. It evolved obviously to meet our retailers' needs. And what we did along the way is strengthen what we could bring to the table, because we know that ESLs are only the beginning. What we're creating when we're moving to pricing and promotion automation in store is very much a base of data points or connected endpoints that we can use for a lot more things. So here, as you can see, what we're thinking about when it comes to the future is very much the journey that we can take our retailers onto with us. Depending on where they are, there's plenty of challenges that we can solve with ESLs alone. And there's also a lot of things that it can unlock for the future. So we see it very much as the backbone for integrating more advanced technologies. So the first one here, automating pricing and operation and tracking the IoT ecosystem. This is something that comes, as I was mentioning, those two elements that you just need to bear in mind, thinking, what will my investment look like? Your investment will look like, if you want to move digital, like an IoT decision and like a cloud decision that combined together unlocks all the things that we talked about already. But then you can think about it as in the next steps would be maybe considering maximizing on-shelf availability. You can add to your system and to your infrastructure that's already in place computer vision cameras. The pricing change and the price tag change is one issue that we can solve. Tomorrow, maybe you might want to consider, alleviating the gap scans from your team and just having that automated as well. So this is also an extra step that can be taken, some other IoTs and everything plugged into the same hub. You've already built the backbone. So this is something that can be considered. For example, again, taking a look at Kavanagh's, those on-shelf availability numbers came out of using, people more to do replenishment and also moving on after a phase to computer vision systems. And here we can get into something that's going to alert automatically associates to just replenish. They don't even have to do the gap scans anymore. And then we can also think about things like growing revenue by creating, engaging experiences within the store. I can see right behind you, you do have a rail that's moving. So that's very much what I'm talking about here. This is very fun. We're talking about Engage here. So Engage is another set of IoT. Since you do have this infrastructure and you've already moved digital, what are the next steps that you can consider? If on-shelf availability is not your problem tomorrow, it might be growing revenues for CPG brands, activating more in-store, creating more interactions with your customers and your shoppers. That might be something you want to consider. And then when you go even beyond that, we could think about, all of these data points that you're using. You might not want to tackle in-store marketing with these engaging experiences. You might not want to tackle on-shelf availability with computer vision, but maybe your intent as a retailer to drive your business from the store or the store chain level is to get more visibility and AI forecast things for you. This is something that is the retail intelligence suite that we have, that is, taking all of these data points in store and pulling and pushing everything, putting that into the AI engine, and that's able to help you when it comes to assortment. How can I better tailor my assortment? Or just from an HQ perspective, when you do have a store chain, this is something that can help you have visibility over the execution of your strategy in store. So all of these things are not things that might be for everybody tomorrow, but these are the things that are available and within reach when thinking about deploying ESLs. This is, again, just the first layer that you can put onto your store, your store chain, to kind of envision what retail would look like for you as an owner in the 5 or 10 years down the road. And then leveraging analytics, leveraging these IoTs in store. I was mentioning this food waste use case a little bit earlier. Again, our deep belief at Vision Group is that all of these things connected and all of this data that we can pull is going to help businesses run better, more optimized, during more revenue, wasting a lot less food, for instance. But again, this is related to our belief that positive commerce is something that is achievable. And for us, it very much starts with the IoTs, so the ESLs, and making sure that we have access to what is happening in store so we can improve it, optimize it, or just to make it a better run store or more positive store for the years to come.
I think that's fantastic to hear that, it can start off with such a little need and grow and answer so many different needs that we didn't even know that it was possible to address. So that's really fantastic. Thanks, Pauline. So now we've come to our Q&A session. If anyone does have any questions, please feel free to throw them into the chat. We have a great panel on hand. From an SIR standpoint, Carlo, Vince, is there anything you'd like to add from maybe an integration personally from in-house? Or did we cover all the bases?
For the integration purposes, as Quentin said, if you have SMS, it's already exists. It's been working. It's been tested. So just give us a call if you have SMS. And if you don't have SMS, again, call us as well, and we'll have the chat on who your POS is. Any integration is possible. So don't worry about that. Just give us the SIR call, and we will take care of that for you.
And that's great to hear that we have a team here ready to support whatever the needs are. I don't see any questions coming in. Oh, there was a little. Oh, hang on. Was there things coming in? No, I think we're good. So yeah, thank you all for joining us today. There is a recording, so I will be sending that out to you all. Pauline, the Vusion team, is there anything you'd like to add before we say our farewells?
Honestly, thank you so much for having us. We're very happy that we're partnering to showcase this technology. We're also very excited to have that. So just an invite for everybody who has any questions to reach out to your team, guys, and we'll be happy to work together to answer those.
Very exciting times. And obviously, if you want a personal demonstration, meeting with your business development or representative within the company, then please reach out. And we're ready and available. Obviously, as being the director of marketing here at SIR, I'm a big advocate for this technology. So I can't wait to open conversations with you all. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a lovely day, and watch out in your emails. The recording will be coming your way. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.